Eliza Darnell was a 25-year-old woman and was a teacher at KK, Virginia. During her early teaching days, she developed an extreme nervous condition that forced her to quit teaching and start working at his father's store. On February 20th, 1939, Eliza just finished working at his father's store and went back home late in the afternoon. The other family members closed the store and went home. When Eliza's father reached home, he realized Eliza had not arrived yet. The family searched some of the nearby streets, and after not finding her, they contacted authorities. Eliza's father found her $10 cash and her wristwatch in the trunk of her car. Her car was at the house, meaning whatever happened to Eliza happened after she reached her home. The area around Eliza's house is very rural with lots of mountains and lakes. The county sheriff determined Eliza was still wearing the same clothes she had when working in the store when she vanished. Eliza's father expressed his concerns about her daughter that she might have been kidnapped. The sheriff put 250 searchers on the ground to look for her. At some point, the sheriff stated either she was killed and her body was chopped up and put in different places, or she was kidnapped. The sheriff asked for help from FBI, and FBI stated if the girl is not found in 7-day time and if her parents still believe she was kidnapped, they would enter the case. After 2 weeks of searching and not finding anything, FBI entered the case. For 7 months, there was no clue where Eliza may have gone. On September 3rd, 1939, McKinley Clark, a rabbit hunter, was on the Kentucky side of Black Mountain, close to the top of the high ridge, when he walked around a large boulder and found the body. The corpse was close to a heavy timber. The body's location was 3 air miles from Eliza's house, but Eliza had to walk many miles and go through thick bushes and at least go over 2 large mountains to reach the spot they found her. There was no mention of Eliza's clothing, and if the officer found her clothes close to her body. There is no information about the cause of death or any other details for this case. Eliza was a grown woman and she would not go voluntarily to the spot they found her. We will never know what really went on in this incident. On September 4th, 1948, Mr. and Mrs. Fustini took their 30-month-old son, Lawrence, to his grandparents' house while they attended a wedding. Lawrence's grandparents' house was located at Brockport of Pennsylvania, and they had a farm. At 6 p.m., Lawrence's grandparents realized they couldn't find Lawrence and called the sheriff. 600 people responded to the call for help and started searching the area. Many searchers stayed during the night and looked for the boy without having any success. On September 5th at around noon, a searcher found the 30-month-old Lawrence 6 miles from his grandparents' house. He was barefooted and was only wearing a light shirt. How did Lawrence travel 6 miles in only 18 hours? We will never know what really went on during the time Lawrence was missing. Jim McGrath was an 80-year-old man who owned a large land at McGrath, Minnesota. Jim was born and raised in this region and knew the area very well. His family came to this location in the early 1800s and eventually donated a large amount of land to set up the city of McGrath in Minnesota. Jim was considered a wealthy family considering the amount of land they owned. Jim, at the age of 80, was still operating his timber company with his son, and on June 10, 1940, Jim and his son were 10 miles north of McGrath examining a land that they were considering to sell. Jim told his son that he was going to examine the outer areas and told him that wait for an hour until he's back. Jim started walking down an old logging road which was covered with thick bushes. Jim's son waited for 2 hours, and after his dad not showing up, he started searching. After not having any success, he notified the law enforcement for assistance. The county sheriff dedicated all their resources to find Jim without having any success. After 11 days of intense search, they terminated the effort without ever finding any clue where Jim may have gone. Remember, Jim knew this area very well and there is no way he got lost. Jim McGrath has never been found.